Y'all, why didn't China have no black friends? Why? Anytime she interacted with a black girl, she came and left in the show. China had no black friends, y'all. She did not.
Sierra, you have an eidetic memory. That is her advanced natural talent. I just like the word eidetic. Do you want to explain what your talent is?
She remembers everything she's ever heard, seen, or read. So that means everything, whether she wants to forget it or not.
What has been, do you remember the longest thing that you've ever said on that show so far?
I don't remember it by heart, but I know it was probably it hasn't aired yet, so I'm gonna...
Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hello, my name is Harriyanna and welcome to, or welcome back to, the pirate ship, also known as Harriyannahook's pirate ship. Always remember, I am the captain. You are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because nobody's worthy of being the first mate. People have told me that me saying I am not the captain, you are not my first mate, pisses them off. So I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm gonna keep saying that. Do y'all keep forgetting that I'm a Sagittarius? Do y'all? Anyway, hello, my name is Harriyanna. If you're new here, I'm a hot mess. And I like to make content based off nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Now, y'all have been begging me, and when I say begging, I am not lying. I am not freaking lying at all. You guys have been begging me to talk about the television show Ant Farm, the television show Advanced Natural Talent Farm, okay? You guys keep begging me to speak about it, and the reason why I have not spoken about it is because I know someone's gonna get pissed off with me for my opinions on the series, and I emotionally was not ready for that. But to be honest, I don't care anymore. I don't freaking care anymore. But before we get into this outline that I have right here on... Okay, I keep forgetting that this is also a tablet and a laptop, so it keeps flapping. But before we get there, just remember I have a 70% off sale going on right now on my website. Please, y'all, please. Everything is 70% off. The most expensive stuff, this is the cheapest you could ever get it for, okay, y'all? I'm really excited for my September launch, but space gotta be made. Stuff has to go. That launch ain't coming out until stuff gets out. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get into the notes for today. As I mentioned, we are gonna be talking about Ant Farm. I told y'all that I don't really take requests anymore from anybody, period, because requests usually don't do well at all. Like, I can look back at almost every single video I did that was requested and it all flopped. They all flopped. I'm not doing it no more. So I'm not really counting this one as a request simply because I'm not saying what y'all want me to say. It's not a request. Y'all keep telling me to talk about this damn show. And the reason why I have not talked about Ant Farm is because I know that you guys want me to say certain things about this show. I know you guys want me to say nothing but great things about Ant Farm. And I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. Ant Farm's not even one of my favorite Disney shows. Not even close. It's not one of my favorites at all, okay? Does that mean I hate it? No, because people assume that if something's not your favorite, you hate it automatically. And no. Does that mean I hate it? Absolutely not. But it's not the first thing I'm gonna go to watch when I'm on Disney Plus. I know that. That's The Simpsons. I refuse to pretend like this was my favorite thing because everyone else is saying that. Y'all know I am not one to jump on the bandwagon. I don't like to follow trends that I don't really enjoy for the most part. So I'm just gonna get into my true feelings on Ant Farm. And I'm sorry if I seem really pissy in this video. I got my period today and I've been cramping all day, but this needs to get done, okay? This needs to get done, okay? So here we're gonna go back to the beginning of Ant Farm's journey into what we know it as now. So in 2010, Disney announced that they were going to be making a new show starring China and McClain, okay? The show was going to be called Ant Farm. It was going to be starring China and McClain. Now, I was excited, okay? My little middle school ass was super duper excited because I knew who China and McClain was, okay? I grew up watching China and McClain, okay? So before everybody knew China for being like Disney Channel China, I knew her as like Tyler Perry China, okay? The black community, especially the black community in Atlanta, knew China and McClain for her work in Tyler Perry's films, which include The Gospel, Daddy's Little Girls, and the best known one where we saw her the most was House of Pain. In House of Pain, she played the daughter of one of the main couples in the series. So I watched House of Pain all the time, like when I was about in the 5th grade. That's when I first started watching it. So I was about 10 years old. Mind you that I am the same age as China, so it was nice to see a black girl on television the same age as me. I watched House of Pain with my dad and my older sister. So that is my introduction to China. So seeing that she was going to be on Disney Channel really did excite me. A little black girl from Atlanta was going to be on Disney Channel, and I was living for it, absolutely. So seeing that this was going to be happening, the more and more came out about Ant Farm, the more and more excited I was. Like, I remember they talked about how Ant Farm was going to premiere after Let It Shine, and Let It Shine was a Disney Channel movie that was filmed here in Atlanta also, so that's why I was super duper excited for it. It's also how I was introduced to the amazing Coco Jones. Let It Shine is honestly one of Disney Channel's better movies, but people don't want to admit it. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty up there. I want to do more like reviews of like black cinema for children. So if any of you guys are interested in me talking about why Let It Shine matters, because I said I'm not really interested in doing reviews, but I'm more of an analysis, because Let It Shine showed a part, like I mentioned in my Bring It video, sorry to get off topic, but I mentioned in my Bring It video that Bring It introduced a part of African American culture that a lot of the world was not familiar with, and that's exactly what Let It Shine did too. But you know, their audience was a bit brighter, bigger, because you know, more people watch Disney Channel. So more and more news about Ant Farm came out. They told us when it was going to air. And we finally got to see what the series was going to be. It was going to be about child prodigies. Not prodigies. Yes, prodigies. I wanted to say child progenies. Okay, they technically are progenies. Go watch the progenies. The show was going to be about child The show was going to be about really, really smart and talented children. There. And I was like, okay, good idea. Let's go. So the show was going to focus on a girl named China as she joins the ANT program at her local high school. The ANT program, hold on, I feel like I'm too tiny. Okay, I'm sitting on my feet now. Okay, the ANT program is a program for middle schoolers with advanced natural talents. That's what the acronym ANT stood for, okay? All of the kids in this program were either really, really smart or extremely talented. And they were called ants. So that was like their nickname in the show. People always referred to this group of kids that were in the ANT program as ants. She was joined by a few characters, Olive, Fletcher, Angus, and Violet. She called her Violet in the show. Violet. These people were also other ants in the program. So then we get the show. And it was a show, all right.
The cooling system is broken again. The air conditioning is so cold. My buns are freezing. 2 hours of baking for nothing.
Olive? What are you wearing? You look ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
What? I'm the baddest bad girl in school.
You were, but now I'm better.
I'm reading this book. War and Peace? How far have you gotten? Halfway through. The title.
Olive, these rules are ridiculous.
Yeah, like rule number 79, no eating with your mouth open. How am I supposed to get food in there?
Guys, I'd invite you in, but there's no lifeguard on duty.
If you majored in management, you'd think you'd manage to put a little bit of makeup on.
Microwave.
Look, it was something. It was something. I'm not gonna sit here and just completely shit on this show because remember, Disney Channel is made for kids, y'all. This is stuff that is made for children, but I understand that I'm not gonna like everything that I liked as a kid as I like now, but Ant Farm is just one of those shows that I didn't really like too much then in the first place for the same reasons why I don't like it too much now, and I'm going to get into detail with it because Ant Farm, the main problem with this series is that it did not age well. It did not age well whatsoever, okay? The biggest plot device for this series is why it aged terribly, okay? Because first of all, I don't think the show should have took place in high school. It should not. It should not. The show Ant Farm is about a group of middle schoolers. Why doesn't it take place in a middle school? It honestly would have made more sense if Ant Farm took place in a middle school and then they had the Advanced Natural Talents program within that middle school, because I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like them putting it in high school made a big difference. It literally would have been the exact same show if they put it in middle school. If anything, it would have changed. It would have been for the better. It's so freaking frustrating watching high schoolers speak on freaking 11, 12, and 13-year-olds. It just don't sit well with me whatsoever. Like, it was also another weird thing about Ant Farm is that, like I said, the kids were either really, really smart or really, really talented. A lot of the kids were really, really smart, so they were placed in classes with the high schoolers, and that is a big no. I think kids need to be around kids their own age, okay? Middle schoolers and high schoolers should not be together hanging out and whatnot, because it would be so weird when they would try to hang out with each other on the weekends, and I would just be like, no. Kids need to be around kids your own age, because sometimes it would be very, very off-putting seeing that kids try to hit on or go after high schoolers within the series or kids that were older than them. And a lot of times they never really disclose how old a lot of the kids' love interests were. And I thought that was really strange. Thought that was very, very strange. I felt like they thought they could get away with that. But y'all, we can tell. We can tell they not the same age. Disney, you're not fooling nobody, okay? Like, if you guys are familiar with Rashawn Fagan, Rashawn basically played Zendaya's brother in the series Shake It Up. He was one of China's love interests in the show. China's character was 13 years old and he was 16, and Disney thought it was okay to do this because they put China in the 10th grade when she was 13. I don't care that you put her in a higher grade. A 16-year-old and a 13-year-old should not be together, okay? Kids, I'm tired of y'all trying to accept age differences between like teenagers and stuff like that. It's one thing if a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old date, okay? A 13-year-old and a 16-year-old should not be dating, okay? Think about it like Gravity Falls. Think of Gravity Falls and you realize why it don't work. It does not work, okay? Just because they put China in a higher grade did not make that okay. She was still middle school age. And along with them on like having weird, because I remember Billy Unger, he goes by William Brent now, he was like in the series too, and every single time the kids got into it with people, a lot of times they got into it with ants that were like from other ant programs, but a lot of the people that they were like talking to were like high school kids, and it was very unsettling. So moving on from that, the show has a sexual harassment program, and it's a really, really bad one, okay? I think this is actually might be one of the worst cases that I've seen in Disney Channel, okay? So it has to do with the characters Olive and Angus. Olive and Angus are two of the ants within the program, and they play China's friends, okay? Angus was more of a recurring character while Olive was a main character. And basically it will be a recurring gag that Angus has a crush on Olive and Olive just doesn't want him. She continues to turn him down, but the more she turned him down, the more that he would hit on her and bother her, and he would just not leave her alone. And the most unsettling thing about it all is that Olive made it clear that she did not want him, but Angus continued to bother her. It was just not it. It was just not it. He was constantly flirting with her, making her not feel okay, and he just didn't stop. And that's also just a big problem with Angus's character in general, because Angus is just walking fat phobia. He is just walking fat phobia. This show just made him the annoying fat kid stereotype that we see that we have been seeing since like the freaking 80s, when like children and teen shows became popular. That's literally what Angus is. There was no depth to his character, and it's really sad. It's really sad. Like, do Disney Channel and Nickelodeon not seem to understand how the way these kid, like, you know, kid actors in bigger bodies, because I heard the word fat people is just so mean to me. I know people have told me that it is okay to say fat because that's what people are. It's just people have been using it as a derogatory term, but it's just so mean to me. I just say it, someone in a bigger body. Does Disney not seem to understand, and same with Nickelodeon, because y'all know with Drake and Josh, how that might make the actor feel? Because I've noticed that a lot of child actors that grew up fat, a lot of them go on like weight loss journeys when they get older, and I can't help but wonder if a lot of the reason why they lost weight is because of the roles they were getting, because of how Hollywood portrays big people. Like, I just can't help but think of that, okay? And it got so annoying, by the way, having like older kids pick on 12-year-olds. I know I already made this point earlier, but it needs to be brought up back again, because this is the main reason why the show just aged so bad. Like, I'd rather have 12-year-olds bully each other. Like, why are high schoolers picking on middle schoolers, okay? I just honestly hate the trope of, like, older kids picking on younger kids simply for being younger than them. They think that because they're older than them, that they're better than them when they're really not. Like, that's the reason why I never really understood that entire thing where seniors hate freshmen. Like, y'all shut up. Just ignore them. It doesn't really freaking matter. They're freaking kids, okay? So, Ant Farm also did have a racism problem, as most kid shows do. Like, I'm not really surprised that this was a thing when I revisited it. I was disappointed but not surprised, okay? Like, there was an entire episode making fun of Asian people. It is not good. It is really, really bad, y'all. I think this might be one of the worst things I've seen on Disney Channel. There's an entire episode making fun of Asian people. And also, y'all, why didn't China have no black friends? Why? Anytime she interacted with a black girl, she came and left in the show. China had no black friends, y'all. She did not, okay? And here we get into Lexi. Now, this entire Lexi situation, I literally had to go on Twitter and ask the people what they thought, because I was like, am I the only one seeing this? And they saw it too. I didn't want to feel like I was overreacting, because a lot of times y'all be telling me I'm overreacting when I'm really not, because the stuff be there. But people honestly saw what I saw too, so I'm keeping this section of the video in here.
I can't believe you crashed my date.
It's my date. And let's face it, Dixon's never gonna choose to go out with you over me. I mean, look at me and then look at you. And then look at me again to get the taste of you out of your eyes.
Okay, that was mean, and it didn't make any sense.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
So, the thing with Lexi, one thing with Hollywood in general, is not just a problem with children's media, is that they be racist on accident. And I'll explain that to you, okay? Because China, okay, in the show, her name is spelled Chyna. In real life, she spells her name with an I. So when I talk about China, I'm talking about fictional China. I'm talking about China with the Y, okay? So China with the Y's main enemy in the show was a white girl named Lexi. She was mean, popular, you know. She was like the school's queen bee. Think like Chloe from Miraculous Ladybug in a sense. Think Regina George. Think of Taylor from She's All That. Think of characters like that. That's literally what she was. I think she will be more of a Big Red from Bring It On. But anyway, that's literally what Lexi was. She was mean to everyone, but she had a special kind of mean for China with the Y. And it was very unsettling. Like, she literally bullied her simply because she was jealous of her. She even admitted in the series that she was jealous of her, okay? Now, Disney, because out of everyone, I've noticed that Disney tends to have this problem the most. Also, Dan Snyder does too. But Dan Snyder know what he's doing, because we've seen it way too many times. Like, but Disney, I might just need y'all to listen on me real quick, because I know y'all like to lurk. I know y'all lurk. Hey boo, how you doing, okay? Make sure you're taking care of the people at that theme park, because you know they like to complain. Y'all gotta be really, really careful about what you do with black characters, because what you do could come off across as racist with them, okay? And not just black characters, but other characters of color that are put in white spaces. Y'all really gotta be careful with what you're doing with minorities in spaces that are a majority of white people, because the way they interact with others and their actions can come off across as racist, okay? Like, another big example of this when it comes to Disney having this issue was China with the I, the real China, her character that she played in Descendants, because her introductory film to the franchise, she was the only black girl in the movie, and while she was not the only black girl, she was the darkest person too, and she was villainized the entire time. When her Uma was right. I don't care what nobody says. She was right numerous times. Okay, the real villain was Malbertha. Y'all knew Malbertha slander was gonna come up. Take one shot every time Harriyanna slanders Malbertha. If you're old enough to drink, because I know kids watch these sometimes. Okay, but it's honestly not even just with white spaces, because I noticed another example of this with Disney wasn't careful enough with what they did with putting a black character somewhere, was that there aren't, like with Lilo and Stitch, they really did have a problem. It was not with just Lilo, but it was also a problem with Cobra Bubbles, because when we had Lilo and Myrtle, it looked like a little white girl picking on a Pacific Islander Hawaiian girl. That's literally what it just looks like. She was only mean like that to Lilo, while Lilo was kind of like the darkest kid if you look at it. So that could come off across as just wrong. And then also with Cobra Bubbles being the only black man in the film, while he technically wasn't played as a villain, he was still technically played as like a scary person. He was simply just there to do his job, because if Nani wasn't taking care of Lilo properly, he would have to take her away, and they just painted him out to be like a big scary black dude. I love Cobra Bubbles. I am Cobra Bubbles hive. He's one of my favorite Disney characters, but Disney just, y'all really gotta be careful with what you're doing with your characters of color, because you don't want it to come off across as a big fat microaggression.
So, lemonade?
Do you often leave your sister home alone?
No, never. Oh! Well, except for just now. I had to run to the store to get some... Oh!
You left the stove on while you were out.
Chloe!
Did you ever kill anyone?
We're getting off the subject.
Disney really just need to be careful with what they do with race in general, because Zootopia is not a good movie. We'll talk about Zootopia another time. We're gonna talk about Zootopia another time.
Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears for hats, guitars and sharps and flats, neat, sweet, a groovy song, you're invited, come along.
And one funny thing that I've noticed when it comes to Ant Farm is that this is often remembered as a black show. Ant Farm is not a black show. Ant Farm is not That's So Raven. That's So Raven was a black show, okay? Ant Farm was not, okay? Ant Farm was honestly one of the whitest shows on Disney Channel, okay? If you take out China and her family, it's a white ass show, okay? China didn't have any black friends on this series, and it was very, very concerning. I wish we got to see more of the people China interacted with outside of Webster, because we would have saw if she had black friends or not. We really didn't. Like, we did see her mother. Her mom was one of the best things about this show too. When she had a scene, she carried it. Very, very talented. Very, very talented woman. Bless her heart, okay? China had no black friends, and it was just very concerning. Like, the only time we would see black girls on Ant Farm is when they were guest stars on the show. Like, we had China's sisters, and then we had Zendaya guest star also. Zendaya's biracial, but you know, this is the closest thing we're gonna get to representation on Disney, y'all. Okay? And none of them were main, and nor did they stay around for long. And before y'all say anything, I am aware that Vanessa Morgan from My Babysitter's a Vampire was on this series, y'all. She was a guest star. Don't try me. And by the way, Vanessa Morgan's not even all black. She's biracial. So, yeah, what that tell you? What that tell you? The show was not the next That's So Raven. That's So Raven was black as hell because they had a lot more main black cast members than Ant Farm did. Ant Farm had another main black cast member, Carlin Jeffrey. If you've seen The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, you know. Okay? He honestly was very irrelevant to the plot. You literally could have just took him out of the show. He literally did nothing. It would have been a bit different if her brother was actually well liked at school, but he was a loser. He was a loser. And I can say this because I was a loser in high school too, okay? It would have been one thing if he was like another Lexi, like another HBIC, and if you don't know what HBIC stands for, head bitch in charge, there are boy HBICs in high school, okay? It would have made sense if he was one of those, but he wasn't. Like I said, so much stuff about Ant Farm just doesn't make sense, okay? You literally could have wrote the brother out the series. It didn't do anything, okay? Ant Farm literally is one of the whitest shows on Disney Channel, in conclusion. But it had a really, really great soundtrack. It was such an amazing soundtrack. I still listen to it to this day. It's honestly some of the best music that has came out of Disney Channel simply because China and McClain just... That's a China and McClain album, okay? That is a China and McClain album. But y'all, we gotta start having this discussion about black representation because I am here for black representation because we need more people that look like you and me and many other black people on television. But we, and when I mean we, I mean black people, okay? Y'all allies, like FD Signifier, he's amazing. Y'all should go check out his channel. Like he said, y'all are guests in this community. Y'all need to know your boundaries because there are way too many times on my videos where I talk about black issues and a lot of allies like to overstep your boundaries. This is not your place to overstep. Your job is to sit back and listen. Stop trying to talk for black people. Stop trying to talk over black people. Sit down and just listen. This literally is just what y'all need to do right now for this section of the video, okay? When I say we, I am talking about black people in this section. Know y'all place, okay? We gotta stop pretending that something is extremely great because it is black led, okay? I think a great example of where you guys can see this is Prim's Hood Cinema here on YouTube. YouTuber Prim's Hood Cinema, very, very great channel. He talks about black cinema within like the 2000s and the 90s. And basically just talks about how all these movies are overhyped simply because they're black led when a lot of them have issues with them, okay? The thing that made Ant Farm great is because of its black lead. Everything else in this series was slacking. It was slacking really, really bad. The main reason why I watched Ant Farm was for this girl right here.
Definitely. I love playing young, powerful female characters, especially being an African-American girl. I think that it's important to see that. And so I love the character Uma. I would play her till the ends of the earth because she's just so much fun and she's so powerful.
For Miss China and McClain, I want y'all to sit here and ponder upon it for yourself, specifically my black people right here. If China and McClain was not an Ant Farm, would you have watched it? Would you have watched it? No, think about it. If Ant Farm was not black-led, would you have watched it? Because I know I wouldn't have. I asked my older sister, Rosetta, would she have watched it? She said no. Okay? Like, would it have even been a good show for the most part? No. China and McClain made Ant Farm. China and McClain carried Ant Farm, okay? This show would not have been worth watching if she weren't in it, okay? Ant Farm gave us Calling All the Monsters, okay? So I think that's just, yeah. We wouldn't have that amazing ass Halloween song if it weren't for this series. I'm over here acting like this show brought nothing but badness. It did not. It did not, okay? China gave one of the best performances that we have seen on Disney Channel, and it just sucks that it just had to be on a mid-show, okay? Because China has done other movies on Disney Channel, and none of them popped off, really, except for Descendants, and she deserved a better movie than Descendants too, because Don't get me started on Descendants, y'all, okay? But I think Ant Farm was a terrible show all the way. No. But Ant Farm is not this amazing, groundbreaking. It is kind of groundbreaking to a certain extent. But Ant Farm is not this amazing show that everyone makes it out to be. Ant Farm really is just a show about a black girl not only upsetting white people who are jealous of her, but also putting them in her place. Like, them kids literally followed her around. It was very, very funny to see. Y'all like China, not Ant Farm. Like, go ahead and admit it. It's okay, okay? It's okay to admit that China is the reason why you watch Ant Farm. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to have this long, drawn-out answer to why you like something or to why you ship something. For example, I remember I was watching Milena Pendulum Princess Week's video about why she ships Utara, and she had this whole long, drawn-out explanation about why so many people shipped it, and then she had her short little reason of why she shipped it, okay? Everybody talking about all these reasons why they watch Ant Farm. No, I watched Ant Farm for China and McClain. I don't care. Like, the same reason why I ship Gabe Nat. There's a whole bunch of people that got long ass explanations as to why they ship the most hectic kind of ship in Miraculous Ladybug. I just ship it because I think it's sexy. There. Okay? China and McClain's talented. She's extremely talented. The music that she did for the show was great. The Ant Farm soundtrack, great. No notes, okay? But one thing, she was giving what nobody else was giving, okay? I remember when everybody was sad that Ant Farm got canceled, and I wasn't. I was like, please end it so China can move on and go do something else, okay? China and McClain needed a better show. She deserved a better show because no one was giving like she was, okay? The main reason I supported Ant Farm is for the black lead. Wasn't nobody watching for Fletcher and Olive and Angus and Violet and Lexi. Like, nobody was watching for them. Nobody was watching for them, okay? That is why. Because the show was black-led, okay? I suffered through this show because China was so amazing in it, okay? And many other black kids too, okay? We love that we had someone who looked like us leading in a Disney Channel show, okay? We got to see ourselves on Disney Channel. Though Ant Farm wasn't good, it did good for the black community, okay? China and McClain's impact on black children was something else, okay? China and McClain was a big thing here. Like, seriously, everybody in the black community here in Atlanta was super duper proud of her for doing Ant Farm, okay? That girl truly helped so many black girls with their confidence, okay? Because she showed us that we had a place in this industry like she did too. I don't want anybody to take away completely negative things from this video that I made here about Ant Farm, because there wasn't all bad to it. There was a lot of great to it. We had great music. It kind of had great fashion for the time period that was in. We had great musical performances. You got to learn a cute little black history lesson too, okay? It was nice seeing the McClain sisters act together since Daddy's Little Girls, okay? It was really, really nice to see, because if it weren't for Ant Farm, the world would not be introduced to China and McClain. A whole bunch of black people knew her, but white people wouldn't know what China McClain. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Y'all get what I'm saying, okay? If you like this video and you want to know the best way you can support me, I have a web series right now called The Progenies. New episodes come out every Friday. I'm tired. Please support it. Please, please support it. I am begging y'all at this point. Please watch my show. If you guys, like I mentioned earlier, that my merch, I'm going to have the link to my merch down below. 70% off sale ends this Thursday. Please, y'all go buy something. I got too much stuff. I got to get rid of it. I really got to get rid of it because I got so much super duper fun stuff coming up in September, and I really, really can't wait to share with y'all. September is my favorite month. I ain't letting nobody ruin the month of September for me. I refuse, okay? I have a Patreon, by the way. Most expensive tier is $5. Cheapest one is $1. I have a lot to offer over there if you want to find another way to support the channel. I also have a Ko-fi. I have a Buy Me a Coffee for donations. Greatly appreciate it, because making your own web show is not cheap. I wish people would understand that, okay? What's the last thing? Follow me on everything at Harriyanna, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Wattpad, Pinterest, Goodreads, Letterboxd, all that good stuff. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good night.
'Cause I work hard to get to this point in my life. I'm blowing up, so don't hate, just congratulate.
The Powerpuff Girls will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay.